almost ready.
Okay.
You're aware of Commissioner Blake? Okay. Okay, Commissioner, we're ready for you.
We good? Very good. Thank you, John. Technology is working. Hopefully, right?
Yes.
We'd like to welcome everyone to our Iron County Commission meeting this Monday, the 11th day of August, 2025. It's a little after 9. Appreciate your attendance. We'd like to excuse Commissioner Blake. He's out of town today. But to start our meeting, we will go ahead and start with an opening prayer offered by Chad Dotson. And following that, we'll offer the Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be led by Commissioner Robinson.
Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads before Thee at this time and give Thee thanks for a beautiful day, for the opportunity we have to work in this beautiful part of the state. We're grateful for the blessing it is to live in Iron County. We ask that Thou would watch over and protect the citizens of Iron County and those who serve in public safety, especially in this dry fire season. We ask for moisture to bless our land to help with the drought. Father, we ask that You will bless the proceedings of this meeting with Thy Spirit, that we will be able to discuss issues facing our county, and that we will be able to do so in a respectful and in a manner pleasing unto Thee. Again, Father, we are grateful for our blessings, and we say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chad and Commissioner. All right, we will go to the approval of our minutes dated July 28th, 2025. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Where's the date on that again?
July 28th.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes for July 28th meeting, commission meeting.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And then also for the warrants to pay the bills from July 28th, 2025 to August 10th, 2025.
Make a motion to pay the bills from July 28th to August 10th, 2025.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. We will go ahead and go to our departmental reports and start with our attorney, Chad Dotson.
Good morning.
Chad.
So I had typed up a report. We're having some network issues. I couldn't pull it up and print it out this morning, so I will email that to you, John, once we get that.
Oh, okay.
But I did make some handwritten notes. I'll try to give you a glimpse of kind of what we're dealing with so far. But I talked to Luke. He sent me an email with the current snapshot of the budget. Everything's looking good, well under budget at the current time. Some of the case numbers, looks like we have received a total of 1,222 cases for prosecution so far. That was as of yesterday when I ran the numbers.
Say that number again.
1,222, and that includes our juvenile court, district court, justice court. Those traffic up to the most serious of cases. But yeah, and I in my report I usually compare that to other years, but I don't have that right in front of me. But I'll get that to you. some of the things that I wanted to touch on. We are kind of in our usual standard. We have probably about 5 jury trials this year, maybe 6, depending on how things shake out. But we had one recently. It was an older child sex abuse case. Dylan Stubbs was the defendant. It actually originated out of Parowan in 2017. And I just want to highlight and kind of praise the team. That was a case that was ultimately declined originally by my predecessor. There just wasn't enough evidence. And then some additional information came forward, and my chief deputy, Shane Clank, would not let it go. He zeroed in on that case, found other witnesses, and really brought that case to the finish line. Ultimately went to trial, and I did want to share something. I note that the victim, who was 6 years old at the time, she's a teenager now. Her dad left us a kind note. And he said, "Myself and family have been in amazement of you guys throughout this long process. Attention to detail with all the hours day in and day out. My wife and I cannot put into words what you have done for our daughter and all of the affected families that have been living a nightmare. We were so lucky to have you on your team and in our corner. Forever blessed. Thank you." And I share that just because I want to let you guys know this is the good work that's being done by the prosecutors who really they put their heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears into these cases. In addition to that, it was a hard-fought trial. There was 4 defense attorneys on the other side with a collective years of experience. I think it was they told us it was over almost 100 years of experience collectively. A lot of experienced attorneys. They had hired an expert witness that was hired to discredit the child interview from the CJC. He also sent a note afterwards to Shane and Trajan. He just said, "Dear counselors, I want to provide a quick note congratulating you on your hard-fought win in the recent jury trial." And he said, "Additionally, I never had the chance to compliment you on providing the defense team with 404 evidence." He says, "This type of ethical behavior in the midst of a semi-high-profile felony trial is something I have never seen in decades of experience. I have nothing but the deepest respect for the Iron County DA's office for doing this." He says, "The residents of this county are lucky to have you." And I just thought that was neat to see, because a defense expert who we cross-examined, we were duking it out in court, but he had those things to say about the prosecutors in this case, and I'm grateful for their work.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's got to be a relief for that family and victims
Yeah,
and all
absolutely.
of that perpetrators.
Yeah, no, she's a beautiful young lady in that family, and in that case there was other families that testified as witnesses who got justice. They weren't the charged victims, but they were able to come forward and see justice get done and get some closure in their lives as well. I also wanted to share a note. Amy Robinson is my personal assistant. She's been with the county for almost 30 years. She'd be embarrassed if she knew I was doing this. But she recently, so if the court issues a warrant, we can have the option to list it western states or nationwide, so that if they're picked up in another state, we can go pick them up. And in this case, that was done. But ultimately, the court recalled the warrant. I think this defendant had resolved the issue, but there was a glitch in the system where that didn't get taken off. So in another jurisdiction in another state, saw that she had a warrant, picked her up and put her in jail. She was like, "Hey, I don't have a warrant. This should be fixed." So she's in jail, and she shouldn't have been. And her family had reached out, and Amy went above and beyond. Again, a lot of times you have a defense attorney kind of doing these things, but Amy went above and beyond and made sure that all the right paperwork and those jurisdictions knew what was really going on. So this defendant sent a bouquet of roses and a nice letter to Amy, and I wanted to share that. I said, "Dear Amy, I want to express my deepest gratitude for all you did to help me and for working with my family and husband. I understand that your role in the DA's office comes with significant responsibility, and I truly appreciate the time, care, and effort you gave, especially knowing this went above your scope of duties. Your support played a major role in getting me out of jail, and I don't take that lightly. I will always be deeply grateful for the compassion and help you extended during a difficult time." So Amy's terrific. She's a real asset to me personally and to the county. But I think this is a good example that, you know, you try to do the right thing for the right reasons. And even if it's somebody who is a defendant calling, we'll try to do our best to do the right thing for them. I also have to brag on Susan. She's going to give her report. We have now posted the CJC director position. We're going to do interviews next week, or this week. This week, I feel like I'm turned around. But she has done a tremendous job filling in for the last 5 months. And I think I couldn't convince her to apply and stay on. That was really what I was hoping. But we'll be glad that she'll remain as the office manager. And ultimately, I think it's valuable because now she's going to be able to help the new person with the grant process and with training. So it's been invaluable, and I really appreciate her and all her hard work doing double duty for the last 5+ months. I wish I had additional case information, but like I said, I'll email that to you. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, CJC. Susan.
All right, hello.
Hello. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you. Here's the, you want one, Susan? Thanks.
Oh, I did have one question. I just wanted to know why I'm hearing rumors that Sam Woodall got the best office in your whole suite.
He does. He's got a nice office.
It's pretty awesome.
We took over Guardian Litem's office. There's a big, long one.
Yeah.
Table in there. He's got,
I had to razz him a little bit.
Yeah, it looks nice. And
Pretty
Jennifer
nice.
from HR helped him decorate it. She's good at that too.
Just had to.
Whatever we got to do to keep him, I said I'll stay in the closet.
Sorry, Susan.
See, if Chad's, that's why I want to stay at the county attorney's office. Chad's just awesome to work with.
That's right.
He is. He'll take the closet and let Sam have the
Sweet.
the suite. No, it's great. Our office is great. But as for the CJC, here's the, I have passed out the statistics. There's a few things that are, I hadn't received the contracted therapy for the second counseling. So this is just entered for one, for PB&J's numbers. I haven't received a Mindful Lives yet. Our numbers, we have 168 cases so far this year of interviews, 46 medical exams so far, and 204 sessions of contracted therapy for the children. I've completed the quarterly reports and the end of year reports. Those were all completed in July. We have received and been awarded the VOCA grant and state funding. And so we've budgeted and planned for that. It was a little less than what was asked for, but we've made all the adjustments, and I feel like we're still on track. So I know I don't know if we know yet, but the possibility of 12% increase on benefits I don't know where that has came from, but we did take into consideration if those benefits did go up that much, how we would cover that, and we're well in
Yeah, I've heard that.
budget for that.
You mean for health insurance and all
Yes.
that? Yeah, I think we're
We're
going
all
to hit
county.
again real hard on that. So.
Okay, so we did take all of that into consideration. That's all included in the budget. Just an update on a couple of the things that the Friends Board has completed for us. Excuse me. The flagpole's been installed and is beautiful there at the Children's Justice Center. Excuse me. The asphalt along the driveway has been extended, so they just completed that, and we're striping it. We needed additional parking along that driveway up to the center when we have meetings and stuff like that where there's not enough parking, and so that's a huge benefit for us. And then also they've added a security gate that will be open during business hours and closed after hours. And so that's awesome. We really appreciate the Friends Board and all that they do for the center, along with paying for therapy sessions for kids after they've reached their 12 sessions that are covered by the CJC grant. And then the Friends Board also has the golf tournament and the Dancing with the Stars that are coming up. Chad's one of the dancers this year, so don't want to miss that. Get your tickets from Chad. But I don't know if do you have any questions for me?
That's great. That turned out really nice, and that's a great location for that facility.
It is. It is. Yes, it's great. Just that it's interesting to see where, just welcoming a family in there, you know, as they come to deal with the challenges that their family's facing during those times, for the kids to come in and, like, I've seen kids just stand, you know, right behind their parents. You can't even see where they are, and then they come in and they just soften up. Just the welcome, inviting atmosphere and the setting that's right there for them just is amazing. So we're really blessed to have that here in our area. So it's great. But thanks to you guys too for supporting the CJC.
Thanks for all you've done.
Thank you.
Susan. Appreciate it.
When is the golf tournament?
September. I believe it's September 20th. I don't know the exact date, but I believe it's September 20th. They are probably, if you're thinking about golfing or being on a team, they fill up like the day that they open
Boy.
up. Yeah, they can only take so many, and it's amazing. It's really good. It's been fun to see the Friends Board that's done. Yep.
See if I can find you a spot.
So I'll have to check into that and
They don't allow cowboy boots.
see if
on
I can get on a team.
They don't allow cowboy boots on the greens.
I'm good.
You're like, you can put a pair, yeah, just for that one
I got
time,
golf
right?
shoes.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay, thanks.
anything
Susan.
else?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to be involved in that. If you can check into that and let me know.
Oh, let's see. Justice Court.
Scramble or sham?
Might get one or two.
That's the only time I shine. I'm giving you mics since.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right. Well, good morning. Starting with the for the Justice Court, the budget recap. We are looking good. There's our budget. We have been down one employee most of the year. We are going to be talking about the need to or desire to fill that. Just we are picking up in the office in terms of phone call volume and lobby lobby visitation. So as we look at the next couple of reports, caseload is down slightly, but I think that the absence of people coming to court is dwindling, just because there was that 2020 and COVID, and we just didn't have a lot of that, and I think we're returning to more normal levels of people reaching in to the court. Any questions about the budget? We're good. From a staffing standpoint, we're still at 8. I don't think we need to elaborate on that. And if we move on to the reports, that's the next sheet there. The top one, and I've created the same thing for Parowan, so maybe just let me touch a moment on that whole interlocal with Parowan. That took place July 1st. We started with the help of Keith, who was their clerk of court, and Kim Zimmerman, who is the deputy administrator for the justice courts. We were able to transition, and it went very, very well. We are, and I was telling Paul this earlier, their caseload isn't a tremendous impact. It's 500-600 cases a year to add to what we come in around 10 or 11,000 the last few years. The problem, as we see it, was the fact that when we talked about this interlocal agreement, we didn't realize that they weren't going to be able to just take all that Parowan data and caseload and dump it into our Chorus computer database. So we now operate 2 courts. We do reports daily and at the end of month within the Justice Court of Iron County Chorus system, and then we do the same thing for the Parowan Justice Court system. And when I say that, I mean the Parowan cases all filed June 30th and prior. Anything that's filed to Parowan Justice Court, Parowan citations are now filing with the Iron County information. But there's still all that information from June 30th and prior that that has to be handled in that old system. So, and we still collect payments on those old cases. We're getting ready on September 4th to have hearings dedicated that day to arraignments and pretrials and different things for that caseload. We have been able to transfer probably 30-ish cases into our Iron County Justice Court system because we don't want to follow those through their life in the other system. The Parowan Justice Court, so you have your chorus information and everything that we do that's mandated and dictated by the AOC. But then we have, and they had access to BCI, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, and their UCGIS system. So they have an ORI number. As long as there's a warrant issued for that Parowan Justice Court in the old system, then we have to maintain their ORI. We have to maintain the integrity of the use of the system for their court. And we really want to get out of that because we could also be subject to audits, and we aren't really doing anything in that system anymore. So with the help of Chad and the judge and standing authorizations, we're dealing with cases to clean them up, and we're dealing with all those old warrants to clean them up. And I don't know what the time frame is, but we're pretty much through those lists of warrants, and a lot of those will be going to state debt. So if we're having trouble in the collection of a case that's already disposed of, that is an option for the court. We can send it to the Office of State Debt Collection, and then it kind of comes off the books. The case remains open, and when money is collected by the Office of State Debt, they send us a check for anything that's collected. We don't receipt that in our core system because it's now a civil matter. We send it to the auditors. I keep a spreadsheet. We keep track of what's collected. It can be bad for the drawback for an individual to have a case go to state debt is it does become a civil matter. It does become a part of their credit record, which the criminal matter doesn't, like that does. And they've got additional fees that they're charging. So, it is what it is. I mean, we just, matters have to be dealt with, and that has become an option over the last few years. So the accounting piece has been really more labor intensive for me and for Julie, who's my backup. Like I said, we're having to do day-end reports every day, final cutoffs, keeping track of the budgeting, anyway, other than that, it's been fairly seamless, and the numbers have all been good. We've been in balance, so that's the good news. Anyway, looking at these
Lori,
reports
on the newer cases, did those problems go away then? It's the legacy cases that are still causing you the grief on the two systems?
When you say legacy,
Like before June 30th?
well, everything was still chorus. Did you say legacy?
Yeah, I meant, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really old system, right?
No, I meant legacy as in
Okay.
the existing
Well, that
cases.
was actually the name of
Sorry.
the system.
Wow, that was, no, that was not on purpose.
Oh, John, you're pulling that up out of the past. So, to answer your question, no, because now that's in our current system, and we have an ORI with BCI,
Yeah.
and we are subject to to audits and compliance with their guidelines, and we operate with integrity in that regard. And I'm not saying that Parowan didn't.
Yeah.
But we didn't didn't have any oversight for what was done. So the sooner that we can,
But the dual challenges go away with the newer cases. That's what I'm getting at. Or not really.
There will be, let's say, if there's probation on a case. I mean, the longest probation is usually 18 months, but but that doesn't always apply to the fines. So if you have someone who the non-monetary conditions of their probation run out in the 18 months, the case remains open to the collection of any fines or fees. So it's not like I can tell you that, oh, you know what, it'll be 18 months. That'll be the longest amount of time. As long as we have cases open that need to be collected on, we'll be operating out of their system. But if we don't have warrants, you know,
They can be transferred
then
over.
we can eventually retire their ORI where the BCI piece is concerned, which we'd like to do. Yeah, and just be in charge of, you know, and in control of ours. Make sense? Did I answer
It
your
does.
question?
Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to trip you up there.
No, you're fine. That was cute. Anyway, so DUIs have, and I only run these reports, you know, on the quarterly basis. So this is through June. They were up 19 driver's license violations, but the other assaults were actually down. I just didn't read it for some reason. Oversight on my part. Domestic violence up 14 this year. Everything else is down to the tune of almost 600 cases to the filing of June. I did see the citation reporting through July, and there was a significant amount of citations written in the month of July. So I think we'll start to see the numbers pick up, and maybe summer's even slower. So total number of cases per the Chorus filing report is down about 330 cases, and per the citation reports that we receive, down close to 500. That doesn't really include, well, the top figure would include informations filed by the prosecutors, which is a different charging document. Revenue collected, down 31,000, almost 32. The amount dispersed to the state down 9,700, approximately, close to 10. Retained revenue by the county is down 22,000. And then here's the figures, the next page for the Parowan Justice Court. And this is pretty much through the end of them running the court. It doesn't include July. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on that, but that was just FYI for your information. And these numbers should be doing nothing but dwindling since there's not new cases being filed into there. And then that last sheet is just always the citation comparison report, which is I send to the LEAs every month when we get that report, as well as the prosecutors. Any questions for me?
Don't think so. Good report.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Appreciate it,
you. Have a nice day.
All right, Jaden, victim advocate.
This last quarter, between April and June, we served a total of 148 new clients, or not new clients, but 148 clients. 108 of those were new clients with new victimizations. 9 of those clients, 9 of the 108 had more than one victimization. Sometimes we see that if there's domestic violence, but also child physical or sexual abuse, or stalking and harassment with protective order violations, things like that kind of interlink. 54 of those new clients were domestic violence, which is pretty typical for us. Our highest victimization is domestic violence. We've seen an increase in adult physical assaults as well as adult sexual assaults. We've had 18 of both of those each. So we've kind of seen an increase in those. 16 protective order violations, which has been an increase, as well as 13 of those that are child sexual assault that we've been involved with. Some of the most common services that we're providing is mostly just information about the process as well as victim rights. So we've kind of remained steady on that, as well as just general advocacy. We're kind of their main point of contact for Google, if you will. If they have a question about what's going on with anything, or if they have a certain circumstance in their life that's been created by the victimization, it's our role to help them try and navigate that as best as we can, and kind of just help them point out different resources that are within the state and the community. As far as our program goes in general, both of our grants for both VOCA as well as the state funds are in place and signed, and so they're active now. So we'll begin using those. Our county budget looks good. We're under budget on everything, and so we're on track there. One thing that I just wanted to kind of spotlight of things that I feel like we've been doing really well with is protective orders. Both me and Savannah are are really heavily involved in whether or not somebody files a civil protective order. Oftentimes they're representing themselves, and so we kind of help them to the best that we can. Savannah can't necessarily give legal advice, but can kind of help train on things. I have a certification that allows me to give legal advice on protective orders. But court can be daunting, especially when you're facing your abuser in court. And so having somebody that's there that's walking you through each step of that, making sure that you're not getting abused throughout the process by either the defendant or the defendant's attorney, those are all helpful things for us to be involved with. And so we've had several cases where those have gone to court and have had trials on protective orders. And our involvement has been really important to those that we've been helping. So that's kind of something that we've seen a lot this last quarter, is a lot of protective order evidentiary trials that we've been able to be involved with and help people through. So, but that's what's going on in our program recently. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
report. Appreciate it, Jaden. All right, we'll go to commission reports. Commissioner Robinson, do you want to go?
Had a very active 2-week period since our last meeting. After the last meeting, left here and went to the Utah Wool Growers Association meeting up at the SUU cabin. Had a good crowd there, probably about 40 or 50 people, wool growers throughout the state, talking about issues that are concerning to them and market and the viability of their livelihood. So there was some really good information there. I did reach out to a buyer that buys a lot of lamb in the western United States, and got his input and thoughts on that. And he was saying that the real issue is that they're able to produce lamb so much cheaper in foreign New Zealand, Australia countries, and they're a political ally, and so it's hard to put tariffs on them, and so he was more in favor of putting a cap on how many pounds they would be able to import a year. So that was an interesting conversation I hadn't had with anybody else. It was a good opportunity and a good meeting to get together with a lot of the wool growers throughout the state. Later that night, there was Western Ag Credit dinner in conjunction with the Utah Wool Growers meeting. They fed probably 400 to 500 people, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah,
It was crazy how many
amazing
people.
how many, and
They did a phenomenal
very good,
job.
yeah.
Did a very, very good job at feeding that amount of people in a hurry, and shows you the impact of the agriculture community in our county. Very, very well represented. It was a great evening, so that was fun to attend. Had a meeting with Amber from the weed department, and she expressed her commitment and concerns with some of the mapping systems that she uses, and some pushback that she's gotten from individuals in the county on using that system, and she's very thorough at what she does, and she wants to maintain that and wants to be able to prove that she's complying with the grants that she gets and able to pass that year to year to new employees, as she has a very, very high turnover every year with seasonals. So it's important to her that she's able to use that mapping system. Also want to give a shout out to Amber. We had an issue, there's an ongoing issue with the landfill with being able to retain employees and be fully staffed. And so Bruce threw out the idea of, because of the death of one of the employee's spouse and his time off, and through being short-staffed in the landfill, the possibility of having to shut down the Parowan landfill for a couple of weeks. Immediately got calls from residents and their concerns, and so I was able to reach out to Amber, and she and Bruce and I sat down, and Amber's going to be able to sit in the Parowan landfill shack and weigh in the dumpsters as they come in, and she'll be able to do her data entry. So Amber from the weed department was able to step up and help out the landfill department with her services. So
That's awesome.
looking forward to that. She was very willing, and Bruce was willing, and it just came together and worked out good. So
I got a call Saturday.
yeah, and you know, it created a lot of concern, which is valid. Also had a meeting with the county fair with Jamie, and ongoing meetings with the 25-year plan and what we're doing there, and the issues that come up with that, and got together with Jamie and John and Commissioner Blake. Who else did we have? We had I'm losing her
Were
name.
you there, Sam?
No. The tourism board.
Oh, Maria.
Maria, thank you. And talked about monies that will be put towards that 25-year plan and implementation of that plan, and how that's going to work out. There's an individual in the community that wants to bring forward some money to help with that, but we're waiting to see that come to fruition before we make any changes to our plan. So if that does come to fruition, it would be a fantastic opportunity.
Exciting if it works out.
Yep. Let's see. Got a report from Bruce on, reported earlier about speeds on the Upper Basin Road. Martine was able to go put out some traffic counters up there. Got that report back from Martine and Bruce, showing that the highest speed that he had calculated in the time period that he had it out was 42 miles an hour. Traffic didn't seem extremely high in the count, but Martine and Bruce and I are trying to come up with some signs to possibly put up on that road to try to detour the speed and slow that down. They'll be shot up and met with resistance, I'm sure. But we'll try to figure out something that we can do.
Maybe we could install some trail cams next to the signs. And
Yeah, let's see who's shooting the signs. Let's see. Also got a report on the trapping of the prairie dogs out here in the valley, in Parowan Valley, next to the Prairie Dog Refuge, on the Adams Farm, which at the beginning count was supposed to have. The agreement was that there was 10 dogs originally on that farm, and that's what they were supposed to maintain. There's been 391 prairie dogs trapped off of that farm so far this summer. On the Leon Robinson farm, which is now leased by the Haldermans, the count there was supposed to be 0, and there's been 166 dogs trapped off of that farm. So they're putting forth a great effort to get that back to the numbers where it's supposed to be and manageable. There's still obviously some damage that was done there on the Halterman farm. We estimate about $18,000 worth of damage to their corn crop, and the Adams's, I'm guessing, is going to be similar to that. So I think that's about it.
Thank you. All right. My wife and I and daughter attended the Miss Iron County pageant Saturday night. That was a nice event. Or was it Friday? Saturday night, I believe. But I wanted to give a shout out to Karen Entz. This was her 8th year as the director of that pageant, and she's just given her all to these girls and guidance and direction in their lives, and just really appreciate it. She's going to turn the reins over to someone else now, but we wish her well in her future endeavors, and just want to thank her for her service. She's done a wonderful job. Is a really impressive. We've got some very talented young women in this county, and they performed very well and just did a terrific job. We also got to view the winners of the Iron County Rodeo Royalty. That was nice. They were there that night. I attended the debate in Cedar City with the mayoral and council races candidates, and that was a nice event. I too went to the wool growers meeting and the dinner. That was really informative, and we just our ag producers are really under a lot of pressure right now, and they need our support, and whatever we can do as a county to support them. I know it's appreciated. They're just with all the pressures, as Ken reported, with the imports and things. Especially the lamb producers and sheep producers are really struggling, and they claim that the beef are probably 5 years behind them in some of the same challenges they face. I wanted to take a minute. I got a call. I got a call from Commissioner Pollock from Garfield County last week. I sit on the steering committee for 5 County Association of Governments, and we've just got a problem. We've got some of the biggest fires in the nation in the western United States. The Monroe Fire, the North Rim Fire, some of these fires we've had. And as you look back when we had the Bryan Head Fire, it's just we have so much fuel loads. And as I've studied this, it's we had the time when the bark beetle killed a lot of our trees, and from what I understand, it wasn't so much the bark beetle that killed them. There's so many trees per acre. I guess the optimal amount of trees per acre is about 60 trees. And we have upwards of 160 to 300 trees per acre, and they're all starving for water. And when these trees are starving for water, their defense system becomes weak, and then the beetle does attack them. They can't repel the beetle with their sap and these things, and so we have a lot of dead forests. Commissioner Pollock reached out with some concern. They've got a new sawmill that opened up over in Garfield County, and they are really struggling to get lumber. They'll take dead, they'll take live, they'll take anything they can get. And apparently, if I remember correctly, he said there's 4 timber sales that are on the books that have been worked on for a couple of years. I believe NEPA and everything's been done. They've just got to administrate the sales and get them done. But there's been concerns from the Forest Service of enough staff to pull those off. So we have. And going back to really one of the reasons we're in this problem we have is back in the 70s and 80s we had the Kaibab sawmill, we had the Escalante sawmill, we had a lot of these sawmills that were huge operations, and they would go into the forest and clean out the dead fall and the timber, and they kept the forest healthy, and they had so many environmentalist groups suing them and shutting down their timber sales that eventually they just couldn't afford to fight them anymore, and most of them went bankrupt and had to lay off their employees. And so here we are. What is it? I mean, that was the 80s, so we've been 45 years ago. And so in 45 years, we haven't had people going into the forest and using this renewable resource which has been given to us. And so Commissioner Pollock asked us if we would write a letter from Iron County supporting a resolution that we'd like to pass in our steering committee this Wednesday, and that's Garfield, Kane, Iron, Washington, and Beaver. And so we'll meet. I haven't got the language. I read a draft last week. Our new director, Darren Bushman, will send that to me shortly. But we've got the time. I'm going to read this letter real quick that we put together. I wrote this letter and then gave it to Mike Worthen, our natural resource specialist, and he edited it and added some things, but I want to read it to you. It says, to whom it may concern, southern Utah and northern Arizona are currently experiencing 2 of the largest wildfires in the nation. The Monroe Fire alone has burned more than 63,000 acres, is only 4% contained, and has been active for over 3 weeks. In response to this escalating crisis, the Iron County Commission supports the 5 County Association of Governments formally declaring a regional emergency and urgently calls on the U.S. Forest Service to take immediate action by opening and implementing all approved timber sales and forest thinning projects. excuse me, it is essential to the destruction is accelerating. Entire communities are at risk. We have already witnessed the devastating loss of the historic North Rim Lodge in Grand Canyon National Park. Critical resources, our watersheds, infrastructure, air quality, wildlife, and local economies are in serious jeopardy. It is essential to correct a widespread misconception. The bark beetle is not the primary cause of widespread tree mortality. Instead, it is a symptom of deeper forest health failures. For decades, proactive forest management, such as thinning and timber harvesting, has been severely hampered by regulatory barriers and environmental litigation. As a result, sawmills have been forced to close and forests have become dangerously overgrown. Where historical forest density averaged around 60 trees per acre, many unmanaged stands now exceed 160 trees per acre, with some even denser. This overcrowding places enormous stress on forest ecosystems and drastically increases competition for water, especially during prolonged drought conditions. Research clearly shows that water-stressed trees lack the sap necessary to repel bark beetle infestations. The beetles exploit this vulnerability, contributing to the rapid die-off of hundreds of millions of trees across the western United States. However, it is forest overstocking and mismanagement, not the beetles themselves, that lie at the heart of the problem. These dangerously dense forests have become fuel beds. What we are witnessing is not a natural ecological cycle. It is a direct result of policy inaction and mismanagement. We urge the Forest Service to 1. Immediately open access to all approved timber sales. 2. Prioritize mechanical thinning in overstocked areas. And 3. Eliminate regulatory delays that obstruct active forest management. This is a regional emergency. Continued inaction is no longer an option while our forests and our communities burn. The time to act is now. And it's signed by the three of us as Iron County Commissioners. Fires are a good thing. They're healthy. Back in the day, and I can't think of his name. Who was it that passed away that used to be our... It was an awesome, he used to talk about this. I can't think of his name, but he passed away years ago. And he used to talk about how the Native Americans, when they came off the mountain in the fall, they would basically light the mountain on fire and burn it. And they would have small fires, and they were good. And it was healthy for the forest to clean out the forest. But the fuel loads have built up to the point where we have these mega fires, and they're so hot and they burn so out of control that it sometimes it sterilizes the ground and nothing can grow there for maybe 100 years. And so we just, fire's a good thing, but we let these fuel loads build to the point where it just gets out of control. Hopefully we'll pass this resolution on Wednesday. Leland Pollock, Commissioner Pollock, is going to hand deliver that to the Director of the Forest Service in Washington, D.C. I've thought about going with him if I have time to deliver that letter in person and maybe meet with some other folks back in D.C. about this problem. But we have to do something. We just can't let this continue like it is. And so we're working on that. And so that's something we'll hopefully get put together and delivered to them, and hopefully make some change. So with that, we've got about 10 minutes. We'll go ahead and...
Commissioner, can I take a quick second?
Yes, you can.
So tomorrow is Election Day. If you haven't already filled out your ballot, please do. There are drop boxes here at the courthouse, Enoch City offices, and in the parking garage at Cedar City. If you didn't get a ballot, or if you need to update your voter registration, you can vote in person, either at Parowan City here or at the Cedar City and the Heritage Theater, and there will be signs. And that's tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and this is the municipal primary. Only residents of Enoch and Cedar City within the municipal boundaries are eligible to vote this time.
So preferably use the ballot, use the drop boxes.
Yeah.
Don't do the U.S. Post Office now.
It's too late now.
It's too late now for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So HB 300 passed this last legislative session, and so the county clerks have to have your ballot in their possession by the end of the night on election night. And we put that in the instructions on the ballots. Basically, they needed to be mailed a week before.
And they're due tomorrow. Right?
Tomorrow is election day at 8 p.m. So if you've got your ballot, drop in the box. If you don't or are not sure, come in, bring your ID, and vote in person. That will also update your voter registration. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding us of that. Appreciate it. Anything else? If not, we'll take a quick break and we'll reconvene this meeting at 10 o'clock.
So I've been on the phone with Commissioner Blake this morning. That's the picture he sent me. I don't think I feel very sympathetic for him.
Maybe needs a shave.
He needs it. I will tell him that.
That's good.
All right.
Ready when you are.
Ready to go, Mike?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, John?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We will go ahead and resume our Iron County Commission meeting. We appreciate those who have joined us. Our first item on the agenda is public comments. This is a 3-minute time limit per speaker for public comment. Participants should not repeat other comments, only for items not on the agenda. So if somebody'd like to say something, just state your name. And seeing none, we'll go to item number 2, discussion and possible approval of a local consent for a single event permit for Moonlit Canyon Masquerade Gala to be held on October 4th, 2025 at the Iron Springs Resort, requested by Canyon Creek Services.
Hi, my name is Brindley Benson. I'm with Canyon Creek Services. For those who don't know, Canyon Creek Services is a local nonprofit. We serve Iron, Beaver, and Garfield counties, and we provide services to survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Every year we hold an annual gala to help raise funds to help support our services, and we're here today to just request the alcohol event permit to sell alcoholic beverages at our event.
Okay. Ken sometimes here talks about that. Who else? Do we? Sometimes we have our sheriff talk about that, but I don't see him here today.
I don't think he's here to talk about it. This is an ongoing event.
No, it's a one-time event.
This is, but isn't it is an annual event?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sorry.
Annual event, but have they requested a liquor license before?
Mm-hmm.
They have.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well,
I think it's fairly standard. I don't know if there have been calls or anything toward that, but I haven't heard of any problems with this particular event.
nor have I. So I think we're good.
Perfect.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Let's see, a single event permit for Moonlit Canyon Masquerade Gala to be held October 4th, 2025 at the Iron Springs Resort.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You're good to go.
Thank you.
You
I
need-
have this form.
I can sign that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And if you would, take it down to the clerk's office and just let them get a copy of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do. All right, we'll go to number 3, and this is a ratification of a local consent for a single event permit for Red Acres Center, Utah Wine Festival, Terrier to Table Dinner held on August 30th, 2025. And I don't see Cimbria here, but she approached me this last week, and they had to have that signed in order to meet their deadline, and so would just be a ratification on that. And this is a yearly event that they have, so I don't see any problem with it. So I'll entertain a motion to ratify that.
Make a motion for ratification of local consent for a single event permit for Red Acre Center, Utah Wine Festival, Terrier to Table Dinner held August 30th, 2025.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 4, presentation by the Parowan Prevention Coalition on the fiscal budget. And this is presented by the Southwest Behavioral Health, Brianne Veeder. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Parowan Prevention Coalition.
Or Bader. We go by both.
Okay. Vader.
Depends what side of the mountain you're from, we always say.
Panguitch or what's that?
Yeah. Exactly. If someone calls me Vader, I know they're from Pingwich. So I've worked at the Southwest Behavioral Health Center for over 6 years, working as a prevention specialist. And for roughly three and a half years, I've been working as the Parowan Prevention Coalition coordinator. And a couple of years ago, I applied for the Drug Free Communities Grant. And I was awarded that grant, and Iron County graciously agreed to be our fiscal agent. So I work closely with Lucas Little and August Franklin, and they're fantastic in that department. So I'm here today just to give you an update on the coalition's progress and how we've been utilizing the funds that help support our mission. You can go to slide 2.
Not the right one.
Yes. So the grant awards the coalition $125,000 per year for 5 years. So this is going to total out the $625,000. As you can see here from this table, we have completed year 1 and are quickly wrapping up year 2, with year 3 beginning in just a couple months. And because this grant does allow carryover, even though it's not the goal is to spend the entirety year's budget, but that doesn't always happen. So it does let us carry over funds, so our funds will maybe increase each year. On slide 3, so much like our coalition, these funds are dedicated to preventing underage substance use. Specifically for our coalition, the substances are alcohol and e-cigarettes, because according to the 2023 Sharp survey, these are the 2 most commonly used substances among our youth in our community. Some of our strategies and funding streams first include education and awareness in the community. This may contain campaigns that target youth and parents and the community in general through social media, posters, and presentations. We also do youth engagement. This includes a youth coalition and support for youth-led efforts, leadership development, and event organization. We do data-driven prevention. So we use local data, things like the Sharps survey, community surveys, to guide us through our programming and tracking youth trends and risk and protective factors. Environmental strategies may include reducing youth access via retailer education, compliance checks, and policy advocacy. And finally, community collaboration, partnerships with schools, law enforcement, public health, and parents, hosting town halls, forums, and parent nights. Thank you. So we're going to take a closer look at our budget categories and see exactly where the money is going. For coalition supplies, you can see for our yearly budget is $3,672. We meet monthly with our adult coalition, and we meet 2 to 3 times a month with our youth coalition. And these supplies support these meetings, creating a welcoming and productive environment to enhance engagement and collaboration. The consultant costs, we have budgeted $12,500. Evaluation services are required by the DFC grant, but they also ensure our programs and strategies are effective, accountable, and are continuously improving. These services help us measure outcomes, identify areas for growth, and demonstrate the impact of our work to stakeholders and funders. And recently, I've added a Youth Coalition co-advisor to help support youth participation by bridging adult leadership and empowering our young members. With our next budget item, it's travel. Our yearly budget right now is the $71,764. Travel costs support participation in local and state and national trainings and conferences that enhance the effectiveness or knowledge and reach of our prevention efforts. These trainings are essential for staying updated on best practices, networking with peers, and these are great learning experiences for our local youth and ensure alignment with our federal and state guidelines. And our next budget category, which is arguably the largest, is the $37,064. The first part of this budget is supporting the coalition and awareness and outreach. And this can include brochures, flyers, banners, event booth materials for community engagement, educational materials, and really the goal of this is to build public awareness and increase community engagement and reinforce our prevention messaging to the community. Then the second part of the other category includes underage drinking prevention campaigns. You may see this around Parowan, the campaign that's on the fire department. That's something we did on the bike shop across the street. There's a big banner. There's messaging in the schools and outside the schools as well. Youth coalition support, including recruitment, meeting campaigns, the bi-monthly meetings, participation in peer education, things like Take Down Tobacco Week, and other pro-social opportunities for our youth. And community engagement, which includes family events, bonding kits, and parent educational programs like the Guiding Good Choices parental program. So that really concludes the budget review. I'd be happy to answer any questions or delve deeper into any of these line items.
So remind us where the money comes to pay for this again.
This is from the Drug Free Communities Grant. So it's a federal grant. I wrote for it in, I think, 2021, 2022. And Iron County is the fiscal agent.
You have to update that yearly or that grant?
Yes, so I do yearly reports and yearly updates. So each year I will adjust the action item or action plan and also the budget just slightly.
Luke, is this separate from our opioid settlement money?
It is. Yeah.
Very good. Do you feel like you're making progress?
I do. So with some things it's slowly but surely, and other things like the community's really excited about, and for the most part, I have the community support, so it's really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for the
I just have a small handout here with a quick look at the handouts. It's just slide 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Commissioner Blake actually did come to our key leader meeting, and we delved a little bit.
If you want to just leave his right here, he'll get it next time he comes.
Yeah.
Just leave it
So
right.
he knows a little bit more of the activities we're doing in the community.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, we're at number 5. Discussion and permission approval to use County Antelope Road and close Comstock Road for an off-road event on September 6, 2025, requested by Donald Jackson, Legacy Racing Association, LLC.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Donald from Legacy Racing. So yeah, this is our 5th year for this event. We've been doing it consecutive every year. We made changes over the few years of issues out by like Three Peaks and whatnot, moved everything slowly to Iron Springs and then west of Iron Springs for the event. It's about a 60-mile loop total. We use Antelope on 2 separate locations. Both locations, our participants are slowed down a 25-mile-an-hour zone. to keep the road open for the general public so we don't block anybody getting to their homes. And then we ask permission to close Comstock for the safety of everybody, our participants and the public, just so we don't have any head-on collisions. And that's basically from Iron Springs Road to the railroad track crossing there. The event this year is on Friday and Saturday, September 6th, or 5th and 6th. Friday's just a get-together Iron Springs. We go through a bunch of technical safety stuff, and then they have a pre-run of the course. It's a non-speed event. It just gives them a chance to go look at the route, make sure any concerns they have are addressed before the race takes place on Saturday. The event starts Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m., ends about 6 p.m. on Saturday evening. So it's kind of a one-day event there for actual racing activities when we close the roads. Antelope, again, will remain open on Friday. That we won't, or both days, but Friday we'll have flagmen and stuff there. Same with Comstock, on Friday will remain open. Just Saturday is the question we have for closing Comstock Road there. And then this morning I gave John a copy of our insurance, so he has that now. We also sent that electronically. And then we do have medical teams we bring in to oversee the event here. So if there's any medical injuries or whatnot, we have teams that are sufficient to go out there and get them the assistance they need until we can make arrangements with the locals to do the transport or fly if we need to. So,
Don, will you tell us about your communications plan?
yeah. So, yeah, we have all of our volunteers out there have radio communications. So we have constant contact with them. If for some reason a radio goes down, we have cell phone contact as well. So we have a guy up on the mountain. We usually send him up on Iron Mountain, because he can kind of oversee the whole event there. And that way, again, we keep constant communications with all of our flag teams, our race operations, everybody. So he kind of oversees the whole project there.
And historically, how many people have been in attendance?
It's growing, which is a good thing. We're getting more and more bike and quad entries. UTVs are picking up a little bit. So we've had about 75 total entries. Last year we expected to jump around 80, 85 this year. So just little baby steps moving forward. But yeah, just little steps.
Will you tell us about your plan for like restrooms and security?
Yep. So we hire a company here to bring up portable restrooms. We have two pit areas. We have one at Iron Springs, and then we have one down there where we cross the railroad tracks at Antelope, right there on part of Nichols' property there. So we place porta-johns in both locations, and then we have a central dumpster there at Iron Springs Resort to mitigate any trash generated. Our participants are really good. We always harp on them about leave it better than the way you found it, pick up, pack in, pack out type thing. So they always bring their trash back to that dumpster at Iron Springs. So we don't put one at that secondary pit area. And then after the event, we go through and patrol it as well. Go through and sweep the area to make sure there's no residual trash laying around. Walk the property to make it suitable for Iron Springs again. And then we clean our route. So we would go out there and put up flags and ribbons and course markings for our participants to know where to go. And then we do the same thing afterwards. We go tear it all back down. And then after the event, we will go back in and fix roads that are get tore up like Comstock. We always run a blade down that all the way to the railroad tracks and back. Antelope, fixing anything that's tore up, and so on and so forth. And then some of the other little roads that are out there that are not county maintained, but we notice that the locals use a lot more, so we'll maintain those as well.
You have your own blade, or do you rent it? Or?
We rent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cheaper that way. For as many times we use it a year and whatnot, it's just better.
So Commissioner Blake sent us a message this morning about this, and he's supportive.
Okay.
But I know there's been some concerns about fire risks and that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, all of our participants are required to have spark arresters on their vehicles to help mitigate that. And then our medical teams that are out there, they have, and all of our volunteers, but all of our medical teams actually have water storage on their trucks. They have like 50 gallons of water, like a fire suppression unit, kind of like a brush truck would, if you will. And then all of our volunteers have fire extinguishers as well. And then in the pit areas, all of our teams are required to have them. So it's like 10-pound fire extinguisher for a UTV that the crew has, and all vehicles on a UTV have 2 5-pound extinguishers mounted on them.
Okay. All right. You guys have any comments on that?
John, can you pull it up so we can see the route?
And this is your 5th year?
Yes.
And have you had any problems
Yeah.
in the past? Has it been good?
The first 2 years, there was concerns with the shooting range
Mhm.
and around Three Peaks and all the recreation there. That's why we moved west. Last year, or 2 years ago, MBM had us an issue with us going by one of their little cabins, the historical cabin in our sheep shack or something like that. No, I don't know exactly what it is. So we changed the route to avoid that. But we are in the process of contacting all the landowners that we cross. But so far, none of the other landowners
don't-
said anything. But
I don't know it real well. Like, I know the area, but I'm not sure, Rich, on where I'm going.
Well, in the
While you guys are pulling that up, I'll just make a comment. As far as fire, you got,
Would you come up with the mic, Spencer?
yeah, I sure will. Yeah, and I'll introduce. Spencer Rollo, Iron County Fire Warden. So this year we're experiencing, you know, a
You
record
want me to pull up
record
before-
dry year,
Right.
with an increase in, you know, large fire growth and things like that. One of our largest fires in Utah right now being potentially started by UTV. And so fire concern is a huge for Utah right now, and especially this area that you're going to be operating in. And then, although fire extinguishers are great, and so is you know, having some water on site, my recommendation would be also to have like an actual brush truck of some sort, like a fire department or somebody on scene that can quickly be there, that's also trained to handle these type of fires.
Commissioner Blake had, in his message, had mentioned maybe we could have a couple of BLM trucks out there that are on standby.
Yeah, it gets tricky with the BLM. That would have to be up to the local agencies as well as us. We could try to fit it in our schedule. My suggestion is I would try to get with the fire departments, local fire departments. They can usually do like a contract and be dedicated to that. BLM and the state, if something else happens, we have an obligation to go take care of that, and we may get pulled from that, where a contract with like a local fire department would be sufficient to be there and be on that that event the entire time. Even if there is something else going on in the county, they would be contracted to be there for that event, for that one day. Where BLM and state, we might get pulled somewhere else real quick. So my suggestion would be maybe go on the fire route.
And I've already discussed this with Chief Phillips, and if they'll reach out. My concern is not only a fire starting, but the danger to the event people, because if one group starts a fire behind or in front of another group, they could get trapped out there really easily. So my hope would be that they would reach out to Cedar Fire and have a truck on hand.
And Mike's willing to help with that.
Mike's willing to, but they need to reach out to him
Okay.
and work the arrangements out. But yes, he's willing to provide that.
Would you guys speak after and just maybe exchange that information? George, that'd be great.
Yeah, we can get that. That's the only concern we have.
Okay.
Just that's a high fire danger area. That route
Right.
that they're taking is in our high fire danger area.
Got it.
And these fires are going big quick.
Oh, yeah.
And extinguishers are great, and even having a little bit of water is great. But having like trained professionals there that can quickly jump on that fire, and there is some safety concerns, you know,
Sure.
especially if you're going to have a lot of the public out there watching the event and whatnot. So that's my only.
Thank you.
And just to add why we're on the fire thing real quick is, a lot of us are wildland certified, or red card certified for wildland fire. My brother's a contractor for BLM, so he has a couple trucks. My brother's a volunteer firefighter, so we have quite a bit of experience with some of our volunteers too to add to that.
That's good. That's great.
So can you show me the route here on the Google Earth map?
We have that in our packet, don't we, John?
I don't know.
I think we have the route in our packet. Right there, right? Is that it?
Yep. Let's see if I can make that so where we can see it.
Make that fit to the screen.
There you go.
So my question has to do with the closing of Comstock Road. Where are you going to close that at?
So basically right at Iron Springs, past the cement plant there. That new cement plant that's popped up. Should be right about the, that's the other side of Iron Springs.
Here's Iron Springs.
Right, see where the main pit is? That red line comes up and it comes like to the S and finish. That's about where Comstock is.
Right. So here's in the last year, we've had 2 gravel operations open up on Comstock, Bullocks and Intel. And I just would suggest or recommend they reach out and make sure Bullock and Inlex are not operating on that Saturday, so that they're aware they don't have drivers and trucks coming in and out, because they are the impacted businesses right now that are new that you may not be aware of.
I think the one Intex.
Intellect.
I think that's a Gilbert that runs that, possibly.
No.
Okay.
That's Intellex.
Yeah, they're doing our excavation for our jail.
Yeah, they opened a pit on Comstock,
Okay.
just down the road, and Ray Bullock just opened that other pit there. And
Okay, I know Ray really well, so I can talk to him.
yeah, and they might not be
Contact
they may not be open on Saturdays, but I thought you should be aware of that, and we should let them know as a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Process. They can always go out the other direction to Desert Mound. They can always, Desert Mound would be their other option out of that area. Okay.
I'll get that.
If that's a problem, can you make some adjustments?
Yeah, we always try and work with the entities and the groups working out there and figure out solutions.
Then you've talked to the private landowners.
Yeah,
like
we're
Frank and others. And
yeah, Frank, the cattle with Mel Clark and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, so we're working through all those properties right now.
perfect.
So it's a 60-mile loop? Is that what
Yeah, it is, and there's different classes. So some guys ride Ironman, so they might only do 2 laps. Some guys are pro team, they ride 3 laps. So it just depends on what class you fall in and how many laps you do. But the most is 3 laps for everybody.
Oh.
So it turns out to like 180 miles. Does that kind of explain that a little bit?
yeah,
Because
no.
it's a team event, so you have like you 2 would be on the same machine, and you would swap at the main pit, swap riding duties. So Paul would ride 60 miles, and Ken, you'd ride 60 miles, and you'd figure out the last 60 or something like that. So it's kind of different from like most other events where it's just one participant and one machine. It's multiple on the same machine.
Okay, I have no problem. Gonna make a motion.
To make a motion to approve the use of to use County Antelope Road and use Comstock Road for the off-road event on September 6, 2025.
Maybe that's contingent to everything's been
Contingent on-
discussed with
yeah,
with notifying businesses and.
The fire and the businesses that we've discussed.
Okay, I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good luck. Number 6, discussion, presentation, and requesting support. The Conservation Fund, TCF, would like to present a conservation easement project which TCP is currently working to complete on the Pace Family Ranch. And this is requested by Gavin Cagle, right? Okay.
Yep, that's right.
Gavin, good to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks for having me today. Yeah, so again, my name is Gavin Cagle with the Conservation Fund. I manage all acquisitions and conservation easements that the Conservation Fund handles in Nevada and Utah. And in this situation, we're looking at the Pace Family Ranch, which is, you can tell I'm not necessarily from the area exactly, but I would say in the Kenara Mountain area. Is that pretty close? Anyway.
Yes.
It's in Kenara, or is it in?
That's
Kenara?
above.
Is it above?
It's above Spring
It's
Creek.
going by going to Pino.
No, it's above Spring Creek.
Oh, okay.
Over in
This is Pace Ranch on that side, not on Pace Ranch out on Pino Road.
Right.
All right.
Right. So I'm going to be actually going up there later today, but I plan to go up the Kolob Mountain Road, and then I veer off onto the Lower Basin Road to get to the property. So to introduce you to the area a little bit more, you can see some of those crosshatch properties to the southwest. Those are properties that we've already either completed conservation easements on or are in the process of with fiscal year 2025 funding. And we're expanding our conservation efforts in the area and trying to work with the Pace family to conserve their ranch now. So a little background on the conservation easement concept. We're not actually buying the property. We're just acquiring a property right. And the state would hold the conservation easement in perpetuity. And that would allow the landowner to continue to ranch the property. They could do any kind of tree thinning operations they want to do or other restoration projects. They could even do timber if they wanted to. And we find it to be a win-win for everybody because the landowner continues to do the good work they have been doing, to continue to graze the property, which reduces the likelihood of fire, and it keeps the property on the tax rolls for the county.
Oh, so that was one question I had. So it would still be probably Greenbelt
Yes.
in the Greenbelt tax.
Yeah. And the ultimate idea is either the family holds this property forever or they could always sell it to another rancher in the future. And they'll set aside a few residential envelopes so they can continue to live there, or they can even build a new house. And we pay the landowner based off of grant funding. In this situation, the grant funding is going to be coming hopefully from the Forest Legacy Fund, which is federal funding. And we had also mixed in with some likely state McAllister funding and other private foundation funding as well. So if you guys can go scroll down here to the next map or to the next couple of set of pictures.
Let's assume I can find that.
Or it might not be here. It might have been in an email I shot off yesterday. Anyway, I was just going to emphasize that this is an active ranching property. They have sheep. It's tied in with some of the adjacent landowners, namely Clark Webster and Dane Levitt. And I think together they all work as a symbiotic unit, and hence we call this the Zion Connectivity Project. So we've already received support from the adjacent landowner Clark Webster, from Utah State Senator Evan Vickers, Zion National Park, Washington County Water Conservancy District, Virgin River Land Preservation Association, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Zion Forever Foundation, and Utah Open Lands. And I'm here today to see if I can obtain a letter of support from Iron County Commission. So I provided you guys this template here. If you're so willing to, you can either edit it as you like or leave it as is and sign it when you're ready. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation. If you guys have any questions or concerns, let me know.
I think you've answered most of mine. Any questions, Cam?
When this goes into conservatory, how does that affect the public access?
So the easement right now, doesn't require public access. The landowner has the ability to. If you look at this map, there's actually this small little additional trailhead that we've plotted out coming from the Spring Creek Trail. And that is an idea that we're going to talk back and forth with the landowner on to see if they're interested, but it is in no way a requirement.
I think
Lower Basin Road goes through that property.
I think that's more of the concern is there's a public roadway through there. Will that be affected by the easement?
Absolutely not. So that would be the public roadway. We would consider that in title.
Yeah, prescriptive type.
Yeah,
of
yeah, exactly. Like people can continue to use that roadway to get down to the lower privately owned properties.
And so the conservation easement has to do with use in perpetuity, right? It's not about changing access.
In general, the biggest takeaway from the easement is we prevent the ability to subdivide the property and develop it. Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen these happen where suddenly a group comes in and wants to chop the road off.
Yeah.
In fact, we've had similar concerns come up really close to here.
Well, that was what the lawsuit was.
It was
out of the RS 2477s.
Well, yeah.
The feds tried to close roads.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was some private individuals that tried it too up in this area. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we also see this as a benefit to the landowners further down the road as well, because if this property, say 20, 30 years from now, did get subdivided and developed, we would want to continue to see the agriculture operations further south occurring. And it's our understanding that this is actually a way that people drive cattle up and down the mountain. So by keeping it rural in nature, that can continue to happen.
Right.
But the easement is not intended to prevent removal of the ability to go up and down that road.
Does the easement contemplate any restrictions on things like fuels mitigation done by? Because sometimes the public folks will actually do fuels mitigation on private property. Does it contemplate any of that kind of restriction?
To some degree. So the easement comes with a forest stewardship plan, which with recommended practices, which include forest thinning and fuel mitigation. And that kind of ties into this whole forest legacy aspect of it, where we're trying to promote good forest health. And to prevent catastrophic wildfires includes fuels treatments.
So the road going through there is not only it's public access, but it is designated to stock trail.
I believe so. Looking at the maps, it appears to be a cattle run. Yep.
It is.
And nothing would change on that.
That's right. Nothing would change.
We're just a little bit leery because we've had groups, like's been mentioned, that's gone up there and done some preserves, hunting preserves and things, and tried to lock off roads that's been used for over 100 years. And Rich and I personally went up and took down, that one day, maybe 50 signs, no trespassing signs that were illegally placed. And just so we don't have any of that happen.
Sure thing.
We feel strongly about being defenders of maintaining that public access, through the on the existing roads.
Totally understand. And perhaps that could be something that we could include in that letter of support, where you guys would like to see that road continue on.
Okay.
So I would just hate for us to get down the road and have an issue. I'm kind of beating this dead horse a little bit, but
Sure.
As far as the forest management plan, would that dictate to the landowners or any public entities that wanted to do some fuels work, or does it prescribe that? I guess, or I just worry that the plan might actually restrict being able to manage that down the road. It doesn't sound like that was the intent, but I just kind of circling back to it because I don't want that to be a problem in 50 years where we can't manage it the way we feel like it should be, or at least the forest professionals.
It's my understanding that it's recommended practices to occur, and there's flexibility to modify the plan as needed.
So it kind of mentions it, but it doesn't prescribe X, Y, and Z per se.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes, and I can share prior conservation easement that was recorded on the Larson's property further to the south.
Yeah.
That references their stewardship plan as well as the requirements that they kind of like meet together.
Does that? I was worried about that being a long-term concern for the commission and frankly for the county.
Yeah. Totally understand.
So really, the main purpose is to prevent it from being developed, subdivided.
Yes. Yeah.
Other than that, everything stays the same. Pretty much sounds.
Pretty much.
Sounds like.
So we want to see happen, stay the same, or get better even.
So the letter that you're asking for us to endorse, we can make. So we're going to have that to make the adjustments we would like to make to that. Is that what you're saying?
He's saying that's just a template, and we can edit it how we would like.
Yeah, I was just trying to help you guys out.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll note that it's going to Division of Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. You don't actually have to physically send it to them, but if you just sign it, I'll share it with them. And again, the state with Forestry, Fire, and State Lands would be the easement holder here. We're just trying to help the transaction occur.
Got about 4 paragraphs.
So we'll have time to review that and go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would request if you could try to review it by the end of the month. That'd be great, because that is when my federal application goes in.
We'll try and have it to you by the end of the week. Only 2 of the commissioners are available right now to sign it, but
Totally understand.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm not the attorney here, he's over there, but I would suggest.
Do you play one on TV?
I do.
Okay, wow, I want to have some follow-up questions for you later.
But back to I would observe that this is a letter of support. Anything you put as a condition will not matter.
Right. This is just basically us supporting. And remind us again, all of the entities that have express support for this?
The adjacent landowner, Clark Webster, Utah State Senator Evan Vickers from District 28, Zion National Park, Washington County Water Conservancy District, Virgin River Land Preservation Association, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services Partners for Fish and Wildlife Program, Zion Forever Foundation, and Utah Open Lands.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll address that and get it back to you, or do
We need to-
we need to make
we need to make a motion on it.
Make a motion to.
Well, or do we, John? Do we vote on this?
You
we don't
can
here.
certainly, I mean, it's an agenda item. You can certainly vote on it. The commissioners will often sign letters of support that we don't necessarily agendize. But it's on the agenda. It wouldn't hurt to vote for it, but you could also just decide to do it. But I'd say where it's on the agenda, I'd vote on it.
So we'll make a request to support the conservation fund easement project with TCP is to complete on Pace Family Ranch, pending further discussion and approval of SAM.
Can I,
Yes.
for the wording, I think it meant to say TCF, the Conservation Fund, instead of TCP.
Oh, it does say TCP on there.
Mine says DCF.
I'm not that blind. No, that's a P, man. All right.
TCF in parentheses, but TCP down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I see.
Yeah, the second one is a P.
I see it.
Okay. So, start over. Make a motion to approve the support for Conservation Fund TCF for an easement project which TCF is currently working to complete on the Pace Family Ranch, pending approval of legal.
I'll second that motion. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Second. Or
Aye.
aye. Jeez.
Okay.
I'm thinking other things in my mind.
We'll get that letter.
All right.
Well, I'll email that back to you, Gavin, after we'll get it made in our own language and get the commissioner to sign it. I'll scan it and just email that to you, so you've got the scan of the wet signatures. So,
Great. Thank you all so much.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
great day.
Commissioner Cousins,
Uh-huh.
I think we need to go back for agenda item 6. I don't know if you
Did I miss it?
were planning. Yeah.
That was 6.
Well, that's
That was 6.
That was 6.
Yeah, the two agendas are different.
Oh, lovely. You want you?
When you sent me and I stood up.
Okay.
I wasn't next.
Yeah, that got switched. So on the screen right there, and sounds like different than the paper, there is the easement for Enbridge.
That's 7 on ours. The
That's
printed.
7 at the
Oh,
back
those
of the
got
room, Joe.
swapped. Okay.
You're trying to keep us guessing all the time, John.
I apologize. Yeah.
I'm setting me up, man.
Right.
Yeah, me too. So
Well,
we
let's just go through it. If we miss something, let me know. Okay. 7, discussion of possible approval of a right-of-way and easement grant with Questar Gas Company, DBA Enbridge Gas, Utah.
So we've been in communication. Sam and I have been back and forth, and the last email we got was they were going to take it. The person I was talking to, Renee, needed to get additional input for what we were concerned about and how to write that. Since that time, and I'll just share this, I've had a thought that we could probably move forward without our concern if Enbridge would, in fact, harden the ditch there. And so it never became an issue with maintenance. In other words, make a concrete bottom so it won't erode, and just make that a condition of our approval, and maybe even some side bank infrastructure to handle capacity. So we don't maintain that part. That's Cedar City's, but I did not want to put.
Well, I agree with your language. I am not at all concerned about this being 27 feet deep or deeper. That is deep. And But I am in agreement with your language that says we don't, if there's an emergency and we have to go in there and do something, we don't want to have to get permission last minute. We want to be able to have the authority to go in there. But anything we do, I don't see us affecting that gas line whatsoever. Being
I don't
27 feet deep.
I don't either, Commissioner.
You-
and that my concern was not that.
You can't, about the deepest you can dig with 323 is 20 feet. So you wouldn't even come close to it.
And my concern was primarily that it barred us from doing any maintenance on that channel in that location. So if the if the channel were improved where maintenance would not be necessary in the future, because all I can foresee us doing is actually doing some sort of structure that that would be the ideal future capacity. It wouldn't have to be a big area, but it would protect them. It would provide that we don't have to get in there anymore.
Do you feel like Enbridge is not ready for this, or that we're not ready to?
You want us to table this or pass it pending the hardening of the ditch and the language you've, what do you think?
I do too.
Is that sufficient?
That's what I would like to do, is to make sure that Enbridge is on board with us.
It would be nice to have.
I didn't want
nice
to
have a
tie
final draft.
our hands, the county's hands, in perpetuity without at least having a solution that we felt comfortable with. I don't disagree with you, Commissioner. I've said from an engineering point of view, that's an awful deep. But what they said is you can't move rocks at the surface either.
Yeah, we don't want to have to get permission last minute if there's an emergency to work there.
Okay, we'll table it. Thanks, Commissioners.
Would make a motion to table discussion item number 7.
6.
Depending on which agenda
agenda?
you're looking at. It's good night. Where are we at?
Number 7.
Number 7. Table number 7 of the right of way for Enbridge and Questar Gas easement.
Second. So we moved second to table this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8, discussion and possible approval of a policy for more smoke and vape-free signage at the Iron County Fairgrounds, requested by Iron County Teens Against Drugs. Thank you for being here.
And for your patience.
I think we have a presentation.
Who sent it to me?
Probably Naomi Curtis.
Canva?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
We are Iron County Teens Against Drugs. I'm Camry Longhurst.
I'm Lexi Zavoyko.
I'm Cannon Sullivan.
I'm Sam Murray.
We are a youth prevention coalition focusing on advocating for policy change around substance use, and we raise awareness about the dangers of substance misuse, especially in our youth populations, and we host pro-social events to get more people aware of our cause.
Today we're just here to discuss our goal with you guys, which is to improve the current Iron County outdoor smoking policy.
In 2023, we did an environmental scan at the fairgrounds, and during the scan, we took a few pictures of people using tobacco products at the fairgrounds. And as you can see from the pictures here, you can see people using these products near bathrooms, parking areas, and in and around the rodeo stands.
Every 2 years, every other grade in the high schools and middle schools takes the Sharps survey, and it just states that 25% of Iron County youth have vaped in their lifetime, and 12% of our seniors vape in the past 30 days. And we just think it's really important that we tackle these substance abuse issues head on, because 50% of the youth in our community are concerned about their friends and their peers using substances. And we just think when people see others use substances in the fairgrounds or other outdoor areas, it leads to the idea that it's okay for addiction to be happening in public places.
Okay. The first policy change we'd like to see is to specify signage rules. We think it would be beneficial to make all no smoking signs more clearly and conspicuously posted at all outdoor locations such as fairgrounds, parks, recreation areas, parking areas, and building spaces. The second thing we'd like to change is to increase the legal smoking distance away from buildings to from 25 feet to 50 feet across the whole county. The third thing we would like to change is to specify specific smoking equipment. In our current policy, we don't specify specific smoking equipment like pipes, cigars, vapes, e-cigarettes. It only uses phrases such as smoking, which is not specific to any other smoking device. And the fourth thing we'd like to change is to specify any smoking and non-smoking areas more clearly. Our current policy only states smoking is prohibited in parks and recreation areas, and we would like to specifically include fairgrounds, building spaces, and parking areas to the policy.
We will provide these no smoking signs that we would appreciate if could be approved today so that we can hang them up. And in the future, we would also like them to be seen on tables and benches. We will also provide smoking areas equipped with trash cans and ashtrays.
You'll say that last sentence again?
We will also provide smoking areas equipped with trash cans and ashtrays. Okay. And as a coalition, we encourage your support for our proposal because it will not only decrease the amount of secondhand smoke exposure, it will also decrease the risk of fire damage and the risk of fires and smoke damage to the property, littering, and see and do actions during events.
Is there any questions?
Sam, what
Sam?
Yeah, the same that I do.
No questions from our end, but we can talk with the commission about any decisions they want to make with respect to taking action on your proposals. That can be something we can bring back at a future hearing, or we can correspond with you based on the email that you send to us. So.
And I would say those could probably be administrative decisions. They're not really a legislative action to allow for signage or clarification of smoking areas.
Agreed. However, where they took the
Oh, that's true.
Here, it might be good for them to come
Yeah,
back. And
you could come back and talk to us again.
Happen,
Get you out of school. You guys are here. You guys are right before school starts.
Unless you have any specific questions for me.
No.
Well, I the only questions I have is on the distances. Is are we going to be backed by? Are we stepping in a trap here if we were to support that?
No, we would look at applicable state laws with respect to that, but then the county can also generate ordinances that would govern that. Be more proactive in that area. So, for county property specifically.
So I guess we'd need to look at each county facility and property and designate a smoking area and map. This could be, and is that something you folks are willing to work on if we give you some parameters to?
Yeah, if we can have your permission, we can provide the signs and talk with the fairgrounds about putting them up.
Is that your main focus right now is the fairgrounds?
Yeah, our main focus right now is the fairgrounds, and the change to the policy is something we'd like to see in the future, but right now our main focus is signage at the fairgrounds.
And you would provide the signs? We have our own sign company, or sign shop that can make signs, but you would produce those signs?
We would provide the signs.
And install them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel. You're the fair guy.
Well, I am concerned that we would alienate a certain population, and we need to make accommodations for them and make sure that they're not being invited not to attend the county fair. So.
You've probably been over there and looked at the county fair, right? The property, right?
We did an environmental scan.
And where do you propose that would be the approved smoking areas?
I'm not sure if we have an approved smoking area right now, but we wanted just more signage up in the rodeos and parking lots because that's where we see the most substance use.
So I guess I would encourage you to conversation with Jamie to figure out areas that would be permissible for tobacco use.
Have you guys met Jamie?
No.
Okay. I might walk over and introduce you to her after
good.
this
She's
item.
there. She's
Her
there
office
today.
is just down the
Yeah,
hall.
she's just right here on the same
I think that'd be a
floor,
really
so.
good suggestion to meet with her and kind of coordinate with her on this.
Okay.
And Ken is over the fairgrounds too, so Ken's her liaison to the commission, so I would work with her and Ken. And
Okay.
thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, so this gal here in black,
She's
follow
escaping.
Nicole. You're too fast. Oh yeah.
She was there at 9. She was there at 10, excuse me.
I mean, I'm supportive of what you want to do. It's just that we got to work through the logistics and fine tune it and decide what we're exactly going to do. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, update on the Iron Springs Inland Port. Danny Stewart.
Thank you, commissioners. I believe John has my presentation he can pull up quickly.
Just number 9 on everybody's agenda.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning just to give an update. I'd like to be able to do this regularly and at whatever request you might have just to keep you up to speed on the things that are going on with the Inland Port Authority. If you could jump to the next slide. So as you recall, the Iron Springs Inland Port was the first project area created off of the Wasatch Front back in April of 2023. Time flies. That's just a little over 2 years ago. Since then, we've got 14 project areas across the state, and we've partnered with multiple communities. Some of these project areas cross multiple boundaries of counties, municipalities, etc. And the northwest quadrant that you see, the blue that's listed on the right-hand side, that points at the 16,000 acres near the Salt Lake City Airport. That was the original project area. And all of these others have been added, mainly in rural Utah. We find this is a good tool to help our rural county and municipality community partners with their economic development strategies. Next slide. So at the creation of the Iron Springs project area, we originally had just under 900 acres, the Savage Rail Port at 74 acres, and the BZI Innovation Park at 820 acres. Next slide. Last year, in August, we amended some other properties out there. The turf farm just immediately south of BZI, then the Nichols Silver Hills Business Park, and the Lakeside Industrial Park for smaller industrial growth out there to follow the community's economic development strategy to be able to continue to develop light industrial and better utilize our transportation infrastructure out there. Next slide, please. Some of the biggest things that have occurred since opening just over 2 years ago, we've got the 2 transload facilities, the BZI Innovation Park rail sink facility and the Savage transload facility. They're both operational now. The figures that I'm showing you here are just from rail sink, but it shows that we're getting a lot of use, more than 600 rail cars. In fact, as of this morning, it was 620 rail cars have been processed there. And this shows over 102 million pounds of steel. Checking those numbers this morning, over 109 million pounds of steel and lumber that have gone through rail sink. Plus at Savage, They're processing some fuel oil, some food-grade oils, plastic resins, and other products out there. So essentially, we've taken about 2,500 long-haul trucks off the road. We're just making those last-mile deliveries. Business recruitment, we've been able to really dial in on the business recruitment. It's great to partner with David Johnson, with BZI Innovation Park, and our other property owners out there on business recruitment. 2025, so far, we've submitted information on 35 RFIs, and I'm sure that I'm behind on that again, David, because those keep piling up, that we're tracking for Iron Springs. Just on those 35 that I did mention, the total capital investment is almost $6 billion worth of CapEx. Now, we know that we're not going to get every one of those projects, but if we get some of those, that's really what we're looking to do. Just to update you, you'll be hearing about, if you'll go back to that one again, John, you'll be hearing about Iron Depot moving into a portion of this building, the Nautilus One building out there. They'll take up about a third of that, or a little bit less. But we've got another recruitment project that would use about 40,000 square feet of that, and that's a company that works with BZI Steel Erection on other projects all across the country. So having those relationships with BZI Steel and the construction they're doing across the country, it's opening some recruitment doors to find kinds of businesses that we want to secure out here. That would be a company that also works in steel products, steel erection, but they would like to locate here and be closer to their western projects and their customers out here. Next slide. This is the facility for the Hive Plastics building that will be operational next month. This is a 23,000 square foot facility that will do some plastic manufacturing. They are located in the Nichols Silver Hills portion of the inland port. What's nice is that they will be able to take advantage of the one or both of the transload facilities to bring in their materials to make their plastic products and ship those out to their customers. So we're looking at that company will be opening up with a handful of people in September, but planning up to 15 to 20 employees in the next 6 months and 40 to 60 employees in the next 4 to 5 years. They are already working with Southwest Tech for employee training. These will be some really nice jobs that they're bringing out here, higher than average wages, and really excited to announce that first recruited project into the park. Next one. Few things just to update you on. This goes way back to when I was sitting in David's seat, and the port had the opportunity to apply for what is U.S. Department of Transportation RAISE grant. This is a planning grant just to help identify the types of infrastructure investment and things that can help the community as we build out this industrial park. And that's focusing a lot on our rail infrastructure, our road infrastructure. It will help us to better understand the types of needs for Iron Springs Road, for the Belt Route, for these things that the county's already been working on. It will also give us some really in-depth market studies and market analysis for rail usage regionally. That's been a long time in process, but we will be hiring that consultant in the next week or so. Appreciate Rich and Reed helping us out with the selection committee to pick the consultant on that. Once that study is complete through USDOT, that opens the doors for some other funding opportunities to help with the implementation of some of the things mentioned there, such as Iron Springs Road, Belt Route, et cetera. So we think that's really valuable. Back again to that one that we were just on. A couple other things that are notable: the creation of the BZI Innovation Park Public Infrastructure District. This is the first of its kind out in our area, and I very much appreciate county staff working with BZI and with the Inland Port to make sure that we're all on the same page and making sure that we're doing this right. We're all pretty new at these things. We want a process that's going to work very well for the county, for development, and for the port as we work as a team. We have a meeting coming up next week to discuss that. And then finally, you'll be hearing back from me in the next couple of meetings, we would anticipate triggering parcels to begin the collection of tax differential on that Hive Plastics building that I mentioned, and also on the Nautilus One building. As those have reached completion, we'd like to trigger those parcels so that we can begin investing that tax increment back into the infrastructure as we've discussed.
Well, you're on taxes, Danny.
Sure.
Would you maybe address, so it, you know, and I'm fully in favor of the inland port and this, but as we expand more and more acreage out there into the inland port with heavy tax incentives and things, does that, I mean, is it, do you look at this with the same philosophy as when the commission first started doing solar panels, where it's bringing, I mean, yes, we're giving a large tax break and incentive to these companies, but do you feel there's going to be a return on investment in the future because of jobs? And I mean, could you kind of explain to the taxpayer
happy to do
how they benefit, and as more and more properties get absorbed into this inland port?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, and I appreciate the question, because the tax increment financing is a confusing discussion anyway, and I think the way that we've approached this as a port authority is, as we collect the tax differential, it doesn't raise the taxes or anything, but it's that new valuation that brings in new revenue to the county. And it will work similarly to what's been done with the solar, but it will also work differently, because our project area plan and budget first is that we invest in the public infrastructure. As far as incentives, that is a but-for type thing. You know, if that incentive is what's needed to get a project here, we will use that. We did that in the case of Hive Plastics. And really what we're looking at here, though, is we're looking at investing in the infrastructure that helps make their site shovel-ready first. And then the incentive we offered them was 10% of their property tax reimbursed back to the company. So we'll be looking at, in our plan and budget, we identify 10%, 20%, or 30% based upon their capital investment. A company needs to invest at least $25 million, or up to $25 million, to qualify for 10% back. They need to invest at least $50 million to qualify for 20% back, and then $100 million and above for up to 30%. And then we will only incentivize the types of companies that fit the county's strategy. We're not going to incentivize any high water use or anything that stands outside what the community really is hoping to achieve.
Is it post-performance?
It's all post-performance, yep. They have to develop their project, and that, for example, when I mentioned that we will be triggering a parcel where Hive is, up until this year, they've been paying a certain amount of property tax. Now that building and equipment's going on there, that's going to increase. So we'll capture 75% of that for 25 years. 10% of that will go to the company as an incentive. The rest of it comes back to the port, working as a redevelopment agency. We'll work with you and with the developers and determine how we can invest the rest of that 75% back into public infrastructure, whether it's roads, power, water, sewer, et cetera.
Could this help us with, so we got a grant to redo Iron Springs Road, and when I was first elected, it was probably would have been enough money to do the whole project, but now it's probably half enough. Could this include that?
Exactly.
Helping with improving the road?
That's exactly what it's for. So we'll look initially at those approaches for turning in and out of these industrial areas, but yeah, the whole road could qualify because all of it supports the project area.
So I misunderstood something, Danny. Iron County engineer. Just kidding.
What's your name?
Richard.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for signing my performance. So you said 75% is taxes comes back to the county, 25%, 10 goes to the company as a rebate, can I say that? And then 15%, where does that one go? Is that the infrastructure improvement that you're talking about? So
we've got 75%. 25% will normally just flow to the taxing entities as normal. 10% to the company, 5% to the port,
Okay.
The remainder of what's left of that percentage, we will work out with you, with commissioners on investment into Iron Springs Road, whatever other projects support the project area.
Okay.
Hey, Danny, just clear that, is 10% of the 75%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Everything that we talk about that's these percentages is only of the 75% collected by the port.
Danny, so 25% goes to the county normally.
Mhm.
75% is reinvested directly into infrastructure for the project area within the county. So it doesn't go anywhere else outside of the state, just.
Yes. So none of what is generated here goes to Beaver or any of the other counties. It will all remain here. The port, we collect a 5% just to handle,
Administrative.
all of the admin that's going forward.
I'm just trying to understand the money and
Yeah.
where it's going. Because commissioners, I see we're making good progress on road infrastructure right now. Sewer is what that area needs.
Right.
On the west side of Iron
And they're putting in a
Springs.
lift station now, right? They've got that engineered.
Well, I would like to.
And that's what that 75% can help with.
It can help with that. So that's what
Yeah.
we'll sit down and meet with as this next year. And we'll collect
Because
for
if we
tax
could
year
s-
26, so we won't see it until 27.
Sure, but we need plans in place.
Right.
Because if we had sewer down there where Hive is right
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
Those would be 2-acre lots instead of 5, or 1-acre lots.
Right. But
And,
because of the septic density survey,
It's the
we
septic density,
we're
but if
locked
we
in.
had sewer, we could really see a benefit to the landowners, developers, because now all of a sudden they can increase the number of properties that they can advertise for.
Yeah.
And so that's been on my mind, particularly for the last month, and if we, is a methodology
Mhm.
for getting sewer down here so that we can help everyone out and solve that problem. Because we are making great progress on transportation.
So, of that $5 billion in infrastructure, is that all? Was that number infrastructure invested in Iron County, or will be invested in Iron County?
Yeah,
Or-
whatever's generated in Iron County will remain as Iron County investment.
Or just because
Yeah.
of that we get 25%.
Yes,
Before the
instantly.
increment.
Yeah, before any increment.
So that's a pretty good shot there. One of the concerns that I've had kind of perpetually, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's been addressed, was concerns about housing inside inland port projects that might lead to shortfalls for school districts because of the incentivized. And it seemed like I remember there was some discussion about agreements between either the developers or UEPA to try and make school districts whole.
Mhm.
I don't know. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, and that's something, anytime that we trigger a parcel and start looking at how that's going to start building up, and that's a good recollection because we don't have an actual agreement, but if we're triggering things, let's say if housing does come into BZI Innovation Park as is planned, we anticipate a percentage of that housing will be for people who already live here, but it will also draw potentially other people in to the area as well. The discussion we had with the school district is if we start to see that we're putting a burden on the school district through this type of development, then we can work out percentages of increment to be invested back to school district. And that would be, every time we deploy any of this, it will be with a developer agreement, a development agreement that will involve all of our partners.
Okay. So if you get to a housing
Mhm.
situation, that will be able to be discussed at that point.
Exactly.
We don't have to worry about having a whole bunch of students that aren't supported by the tax revenues that would normally be in place.
Right. And one thing that I've noticed when a business comes to town, when Hive Plastics comes to town and say they do get 80 jobs, traditionally, I'll give American Packaging as a for instance and just say 100 new jobs. About 6 of those were families that moved here and brought their families. The rest of them were people that already lived here. So there's a perception that creating a new job creates a new burden on the school district. Generally, it's just new opportunity for people who are already here. But yeah, we'll go through all of those discussions.
Well, and that was one of my questions too. as employees, as we see these companies come in, and,
Mhm.
and do we find that the people are moving here to take those jobs? I mean, are we?
Yeah,
How's the labor market right now? Is it?
Unemployment numbers are tight, but there's a lot of shuffling that goes around between manufacturing companies whenever something opens up. And we had 2 open up in the last 2 years with GoEx and American Packaging. And most of that was just handled free market style with local employees. We didn't have a lot of inflow. I mean, we've got inflow anyway, but I wouldn't attribute most of it.
I mean, we had the iron mine shut
to
down,
that.
and I'm sure those jobs were absorbed quickly, right?
Exactly. Same thing happened in Beaver County when Smithfield shut down. Unitech moved down here to help absorb some of those employees. So,
So Danny, I think there's maybe an unspoken benefit of like the inland port that maybe if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to speak to, which is what do projects like this do to sales tax revenue? Because like Iron County gets a fair portion of our operating budget from sales tax revenue, and I know that helps with local entities as well. Maybe could you speak to sales tax?
yeah, the projects that we're looking at generally don't have a sales tax component. As Iron Depot comes in and they're selling stuff, there will be sales tax generated. We could collect that. We prefer not to deal with that. We prefer that just flows back to the community as normal.
Right.
So
In
if
other
we
words,
have to
that's
do an
not
MOU or
incentivized.
whatever, then we'll do that. Right.
That's fully taxable. What about a place like Hive where they receive in, billets of plastic and they send out widgets made of plastic?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work for us in terms, because they're not really selling it here?
Right.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, not sure that the sales tax is a big incentive here. I think the incentive that we look at is you create a handful of jobs, and each manufacturing job as a multiplier just naturally helps create other jobs. In fact, every one manufacturing job creates 2 to 3 other needs in the county because they're buying supplies and gasoline, and they're going to lunch and groceries and those sorts of things. So that's generally that multiplier effect is somewhere between 2 and 3 jobs in a county for every manufacturing job that's created.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, I have a question.
Certainly.
The rail is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
What level of support are they offering, or what are the conversations with the rail?
Yeah, that's excellent, because that was really the reason that we
I talked to
located
customers
here.
down the line. Their level of service is not fantastic.
Yeah, it's
So-
been challenging for a long time, as you know, especially only getting 2 days a week service with Union Pacific. So we've got a couple of things happening as the rail use increases, and we've got all those cars coming in. We talked about what was that number? The 600 rail cars processed in 2 years. That they're all being dropped off at these places so that Union Pacific isn't having to handle those. They'll drop whichever one's off at Rail Sync, whichever one's off at Savage, and they deal with those, and they just pick them up on the way out. My discussions with Union Pacific is as the usage increases, then our days of service will increase as well. The other thing that's happening in the state of Utah, as with the focus placed on rail, in fact, it's just been 2 weeks ago now that BNSF has moved into the Utah market. They do that by leasing UP rail, but there's some competition out there now, so the rail's having to step up. Another thing that could happen is Savage they do a lot more than just transloading. If we ever grew to a point that was necessary, we could work with them and their locomotives and discuss a short line from there into Cedar City, which might be a good solution to service. So we're always looking at how do we increase and improve use of rail. Overall, our rail asset is very underutilized at 2 service days a week.
So they're amenable to increasing service.
They would love to increase service, and especially now that competition's breathing down their neck a little bit. So
That's good to hear.
yeah, I agree.
That's really good to hear, because when they're the only dog on the chain, it's
Yeah.
They're tough to deal with.
But if we were to see that, I've had this discussion with Savage, if we were to see that other people down the line are starting to suffer, especially those plastic manufacturers, they can't miss a delivery or they have to shut down their equipment. That can't happen.
Got facilities that run 24/7, and all of a sudden they're getting slide on.
And we've had those issues before.
UP says sorry.
Yeah. We're out of hours. See you next week.
Right.
Yeah. We've seen that in the past, and they've been better, but it's very possible that we could approach Savage and say, could you help us? Could we petition to do a short line in this area, and you manage all of that traffic and increase our service days?
Is there room out at Lund to support all the interchanging of those cars that would,
Yeah, when you look at what's been built at Rail Sync and at Savage, plus what's already at Lund, we do have a lot of car storage, and there's lots of room to expand that. So, yeah, the rail is really the big motivator. Is let's use that century-old asset and make the best of it. So,
See, how many more slides you got?
that's it. Oh, I did want to talk about this. We're working right now on taking to our board for October, November proposed properties and trying to get everyone in. It's made this tiny, but you'll see top left hand, we've got some parcels far out in the county I've discussed with you. We've got Parowan City has asked to amend their airport industrial park into the port, as well as the undeveloped portions of Port 15. And just immediately east of that is about 155 acres of what's being called the Amber Industrial Park. A lot of this is already being worked on as industrial. It's just these entities have come to us. Parowan City and Cedar City have both adopted resolutions like the county did originally to invite us in to help build out those industrial sections. So we're excited to keep growing.
So over the years, Frank Nichols has talked to me a lot about that there's 10,000 acres of BLM just before Weco on the left or the south side of the road. You're aware of that. I'm sure Frank's talked to you about that, about turning that, acquiring that from the BLM if they ever put that on a disposal list, which takes forever. But of creating a true, what do they call it, intermodal or intermodal, where they actually do inspections, they load cars, and they bypass the ports, it goes right to its destination. Do you ever see a future where we can make that happen?
We've had those discussions with Port of LA and Port of Long Beach. They would like to see that happen.
Because they're so congested. They'd love that, wouldn't they?
They would love that. In fact, that's part of the reason why the BNSF has opened up intermodal in Salt Lake. So Utah has a Union Pacific and a BNSF intermodal right now in Salt Lake.
Operable right now?
And delivering products. They're very aware of this because of our 1 day's trucking back to large population centers. There's some advantage to that. So I don't see that happening in the immediate future, but it's definitely, those discussions are on the table right now. We continue to have those talks with the seaports.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Savage. Yeah, we're all working together just because Savage is interesting. They did something similar in Pocatello, Idaho. They did their own research and found how much demand there was for cargo usage in that area, and they were able to do some intermodal up there. So there's a lot of things looking that direction. We don't want to clog up our highways. We want to make sure we plan ahead for that, but that's certainly on the table.
Very good.
Right, thank you.
Thanks for the report.
Just a thought on that. There is a need for those trucks going back. There's a huge amount of alfalfa hay that is exported out of our county.
Yeah.
And the cheap freight rate on those trucks going back to LA and Southern California.
And that's really what began our whole discussion here was hay. And that's really why we have an inland port. So we're wanting to solve that because we're trying to identify how many inbound containers are so we can fill them with hay and get them back out to market.
Happy cows in California live on southern Utah hay.
Sure. All right. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's go to personnel. Jennifer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ooh.
In the Sheriff's Office Corrections, Caitlin Lacey has completed all tasks and requirements to receive a promotion from a medical deputy 2 to a medical deputy 3 effective 8/17 of 2025. Fernando Gomez was selected from a recent competitive recruiting and interview process to backfill the vacant full-time deputy 1 position effective 8/31, 2025. In the Sheriff's Office patrol, I originally thought there was going to be 2, but there are 3 requests. Are you okay with presenting all 3?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that's fair. I mean, they were TBD anyway.
Correct.
Are you comfortable with that, Sam, commissioners?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I'm sorry.
On Sheriff's Patrol there, we have 2 TBD Patrol Reserve Deputy hirings, and they actually are going to be able to pull off 3. It was agendized as 2, but not specific names. I'm okay with it. I don't think we're going beyond that. There has been an argument over the years that personnel could be done administratively anyway. So,
Right.
So basically, putting sunshine on it, even if we have 2 instead of 3, I think is okay.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So perfect. So those 3 names are Clint Anderson, Kyle Barrett, and Ben Rowley. Were all selected to fill the part-time patrol reserve deputy positions. And those will be effective August 18th, 2025. And perspective-wise, that's just to fill some of the overtime selections, all of the slots that don't typically get filled by our regular office staff. So in the clerk's department, Marissa Condi was selected from the most recent competitive recruiting and interview process to backfill the vacant full-time deputy clerk position effective 9/2 of 2025. In the attorney's office, Joseph Shaha was selected from a recent competitive recruiting and interview process to backfill the vacant deputy position for the county attorney's office, and that's going to be an attorney position effective, 9/2 of 2025. And in the landfill, originally on the agenda, it does show that it's going from a 1 to a 2, but it will be going from a 2 to a 3. Nick Stones has completed all tasks and requirements to receive a promotion from a full-time landfill worker 2 to a full-time landfill worker 3 beginning of 8/18 of 2025. And then in the building and zoning department, Riley Westwood was selected from the most recent competitive recruiting and interview process to backfill the vacant full-time code enforcement worker position effective 9/2 of 2025.
Okay. Any questions on personnel? Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the personnel changes as outlined in the agenda.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Building zoning. We talked about that. Non-delegated items, county boards, closed session. Do we have anything going on there? I don't think of it. Can't think of anything. Awesome. Okay. Well, Chair will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.